Namaste Bitya, myself JVN Neha Seni from Physiotherapy and Diagnostics, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Here I am going to tell you about the anatomy of femoral triangle. Here we discuss about the introduction, boundaries, contents and clinical anatomy related to femoral triangle. So the boundaries of femoral triangle includes, since it is a triangular structure, so it has three borders. First is the base. This is the base. It is formed by the inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament is the folding of external oblique muscle and it extends from anterior superior leg spine up to the pubic tubercle. Then lateral boundary is formed by the sartorius and the medial boundary is formed by the adductor longus muscle, as we can see in the diagram. So this is the boundaries of femoral triangle. Then roof. Roof of the femoral triangle is formed by skin. Beneath the skin we find superficial fascia. Superficial fascia contains some cutaneous structures like superficial inguinal lymph nodes. So superficial inguinal lymph nodes in the femoral triangle, they are in the form of capital T shape. Then here we have femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve, as we can see in the diagram. Then branches of ilioinguinal nerve, branches of femoral vessels which are supplying to the skin of the femoral triangle, and the great saphenous vein. This is the largest cutaneous vein of the lower limb. This great saphenous vein originates from the dorsal venous arch on the dorsum of foot. On the dorsum of foot, here we can see this is the dorsal venous arch. The medial end of this dorsal venous arch forms the great saphenous vein. After passing anterior to the medial malleolus, it runs up the medial side of the leg. As we can see in the diagram, it is running upwards and it is passing anterior to the medial malleolus. Medial malleolus is the projection at the lower end of tibia. At the knee, it runs over the posterior border of medial epicondyle of the femur bone, and the great saphenous vein then courses laterally to lie on the anterior surface of the thigh. So in the thigh, before opening, it enters into an opening in the fascia lata. This is the saphenous opening. In the thigh, there is a deep fascia which is known as fascia lata. This fascia lata forms an opening. This opening is the saphenous opening. So in the saphenous opening, this great saphenous vein passes and drains into the femoral vein. So this is the course of the great saphenous vein. Then in the roof, beneath the superficial fascia, we have deep fascia. This deep fascia in the femoral triangle possesses two modifications. One is the saphenous opening, which we have demarcated with the red color. Then the cribriform fascia. Cribriform fascia is the modification of deep fascia which has various pores in it. That is why it is named as cribriform, having sieve-like appearance. Then come to the floor of the femoral triangle. From lateral to medial side, it is formed by iliacus muscle, psoas major, pectineus and adductor longus muscle. So these four muscles forms the floor of the femoral triangle. So here we can again see the muscles forming the floor of the femoral triangle from lateral to medial side: iliacus, psoas major, pectineus and adductor longus. Then come to the contents of the femoral triangle. From lateral to medial side, the contents are femoral nerve and its branches, femoral artery, then femoral vein, lymphatic vessels and some deep inguinal lymph nodes. Also we have great saphenous vein which is superficial, draining into femoral vein. So these are the contents of the femoral triangle. These femoral triangle contents, except the femoral nerve, they are enclosed in a sheath. This sheath is made up of deep fascia. This is known as femoral sheath. So femoral sheath is formed by two layers. That is, the anterior layer of the femoral sheath is made up of fascia transversalis. This fascia transversalis is the deep fascia covering the transversus abdominis muscle, and then the posterior layer of this fascial sheath, that is femoral sheath, is formed by the fascia iliaca. This fascia iliaca is again the deep fascia covering the iliacus muscle. So in the diagram we can see the iliacus muscle in the iliacus fossa, and this fascia is the fascia iliaca. So this is the formation of femoral sheath. This femoral sheath has three compartments: the lateral, the middle, and the medial compartment. Lateral compartment contains the artery, that is why it is also known as arterial compartment. Middle compartment contains the femoral vein, that is why it is known as venous compartment. And the medial compartment, most of the part of this compartment is empty, and it is known as femoral canal. So this is the superior view of the femoral sheath, where we can see the three compartments. The femoral canal. Femoral canal, as it has been highlighted in the image, it is conical. It allows the femoral vein to expand. It contains the lymph vessels and a small lymph node of Cloquet, and some loose areolar tissue is found over here. Then there is a term known as femoral ring. Femoral ring is the upper part, the upper border of the femoral canal is known as femoral ring. So before starting the detailed note on the femoral artery, we should know that what is the origin of the femoral artery. Femoral artery is the branch of external iliac artery. Now external iliac artery, from where it comes? Suppose in this diagram we can see this is the abdominal aorta. This abdominal aorta bifurcates into two branches. One is this side, this is right common iliac, and this is left common iliac artery. This common iliac artery again bifurcates into external iliac artery, and this is internal iliac artery. Internal iliac artery supplies to the organs of the pelvis, and the external iliac artery enters into the thigh. This external iliac artery beneath the inguinal ligament, as we can see the inguinal ligament, beneath the inguinal ligament, it continues in the form of femoral artery. So here we can say that the femoral artery is the continuation of external iliac artery. Now come to its description. Femoral artery, the origin is from the external iliac artery. Course, it starts from its course from mid-inguinal point up to the apex of the femoral triangle. Mid-inguinal point is what? It is the midpoint between the anterior superior iliac spine. This is the anterior superior iliac spine, and the pubic symphysis. This is pubic symphysis. So between these 2 points, this is the mid-inguinal point. So at the mid-inguinal point, one can feel the pulsations of the femoral artery. So it starts from the mid-inguinal point and continues up to the apex of the femoral triangle. Now the branches over here, there are 3 superficial and 3 deep branches, and from the apex it continues in the adductor canal, and from the adductor hiatus it continues in the form of popliteal artery. So branches of the femoral artery in the femoral triangle, we have 3 deep and 3 superficial branches. The 3 superficial branches are superficial epigastric, superficial external pudendal, and superficial circumflex iliac artery. And the 3 deep branches are profunda femoris, deep external pudendal, and muscular branches. So here we can see the femoral artery and the branches of the femoral artery. So here we can see again the branches of the femoral artery and continuation of the femoral artery in the form of popliteal artery. So from the adductor hiatus, which is lying in the adductor magnus, this is the adductor hiatus over here, suppose, and then this femoral artery continues into the back of the knee in the form of popliteal artery. So this is the adductor magnus. Here we have the largest opening in the adductor magnus muscle. This is the adductor hiatus, and this is the point where femoral artery ends and further continues downwards in the form of popliteal artery. So this is the formation of popliteal artery from the adductor hiatus. Then come to the second structure content of the femoral triangle, that is your femoral vein. So femoral vein, it originates in the form of popliteal vein, and the tributaries are external, all the branches of the femoral artery corresponding to the branches of femoral artery are the tributaries of the femoral vein, and then it continues in the form of external iliac vein. Then the femoral nerve. The femoral nerve, it originates from the dorsal divisions of anterior primary rami of L2, L3, L4. These are the formations of femoral nerve. Then the cords, this femoral nerve, after taking origin from the lumbar plexus, it continues downwards on the anterior aspect of the psoas major muscle. This is the psoas major muscle. On its anterior surface, this femoral nerve is running downwards and enters into the femoral triangle beneath the inguinal ligament, and from here it divides into two divisions. In the femoral triangle, the femoral nerve divides into two divisions because of the lateral circumflex femoral artery. It possesses two divisions. The anterior division provides one muscular and two cutaneous branches, and posterior division provides 4 muscular and 1 cutaneous branch. Other than these, this nerve also provides articular and vascular branches. Articular means to the joint. So femoral nerve also provides branches to hip joint, knee joint. And vascular branch means branch to the vessels. So it is providing branches to the femoral artery and its branches. So this is the femoral nerve, as we have discussed earlier. It descends lateral to the psoas major and then enters into the thigh behind the midpoint of the inguinal ligament, and it passes laterally to the femoral artery and then divides into anterior and the posterior divisions. So these anterior and the posterior divisions are because of the lateral circumflex femoral artery, which is a branch of profunda femoris artery. So this artery divides the femoral nerve into two divisions, and each division provides muscular, cutaneous, articular branches. This is the formation of femoral nerve from the lumbar plexus. Now some clinical aspects. First is the femoral artery can be used for feeling the pulsations, for compression, and for coronary angiography. This femoral artery can be felt at the mid-inguinal point, and from here we can use it for coronary angiography also. This is coronary angiography. In this we have inserted the cannula in the femoral artery at the mid-inguinal point. The femoral vein can be used for intravenous infusions in case of infants, because in infants the cutaneous veins of the upper limb are not very much demarcated, clearly visible, and the femoral vein is very easily accessible. That is why it is used for intravenous infusions in case of infants. Then next applied is meralgia parastatica. In case of meralgia paresthetica, the femoral nerve, that is the lateral femoral cutaneous nerve, is entrapped in the inguinal ligament, and this causes pain over its distribution, that is on the lateral aspect of the skin of the thigh. This condition is known as meralgia paresthetica. Then femoral hernia. Femoral hernia can be through femoral canal, and this hernia is more in case of females than the males, because in case of females the pelvis is wider, that is why the femoral canal is wider, and that is leading to more protrusion of the abdominal organs into the femoral canal. Then the direction of this femoral hernia is downwards, forwards and upwards. So if you want to treat this hernia, the direction would be downwards, backwards and upwards. Now there is a difference between femoral hernia and inguinal hernia. What is that? Femoral hernia can be felt inferior and lateral to the pubic tubercle, while inguinal hernia is superior and medial to the pubic tubercle. This is the basic difference between the femoral and the inguinal hernia. So this is the femoral hernia, where abdominal contents pass through the naturally occurring weakness in the thigh, that is the femoral canal. So this completes our topic, the femoral triangle. Now after completion of the topic, the femoral triangle, we will discuss about the questions related to this topic which can be asked in your exams. First question is discuss about the femoral triangle under the following headings. So these are boundaries. In this we mention about the boundaries of the femoral triangle, its location, and then we discuss about the roof and the floor, which are the structures which are forming the roof and the floor of this femoral triangle, and what are the structures which are in the femoral triangle, that is will be coming under your contents. Then the related clinical aspects like femoral hernia, etc. Then in this we also draw the diagrams. Now this is the exercise for your file. You have to draw this diagram in your file and also label all these structures which are demarcating over here. So this is the exercise for your file, and this will complete your topic, the femoral triangle.